Hi, welcome to Pennsylvania Newsmakers, and as always, thanks for watching. While the legislature returns, how does the federal government partial shutdown affect us in Pennsylvania? What are our congressmen doing about that? Plus, the popular financial literacy update. All of that follows these words.
This is Pennsylvania Newsmakers, a fast-paced, unrehearsed weekly discussion with and about the leaders who shape your world. And now, here's your host, Terry Madonna.
Thanks for joining us as always. Well, we're going to get into a couple of the big issues that confront the Pennsylvania legislature as they come back. We also want to talk a little bit about the federal shutdown. Does it have an impact on our state? John Micek from the Harrisburg Patriot News and PennLive, he's the editorial page editor, and Kate Giammarise. Do I got that right?
Yeah.
You notice I put that Italian little... I can do that, folks. I can do that. From the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette is here. She covers the Capitol for that Western Pennsylvania newspaper. All right, John, let's start with you on this shutdown. Who knows by the time this airs what's around the state what's going to happen? That's point number one. But we do have a number of Pennsylvania Republican congressmen sort of breaking, if you will, with the leaders at the moment. Where does all that stand?
Yeah, we're recording this on a Thursday morning. The government is still partially shut down by the time it airs on Sunday. It could be open again, or it might not be.
Right.
I mean, it's not looking particularly good. But yeah, I mean, you've got 4 or 5 suburban Philadelphia congressmen. Charlie Dent is the most, from Allentown, the most visible of them, now saying they'll support what's known as a clean CR, a continuing resolution that will keep the government funded until they can come to a permanent agreement on the U.S. budget. He's been joined by Mike Fitzpatrick,
Pat
Meehan, Jim Gerlach. So they're now pushing for some sort of resolution. The interesting thing, though, is that because this resolution is stuck in committee, Dent and Gerlach and Meehan are saying they won't support a discharge resolution to kick it out. That has to go through the regular channels to get to the floor for a vote.
Translation here, that's an extraordinary action that would take 218 votes in the Congress to get a bill out of committee that the leadership doesn't want. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a tricky spot for House Speaker John Boehner right now because he has this constituency that's looking for some sort of resolution. On the other hand, he's got that Tea Party faithful within his conference that could rise up. I mean, we saw this happen to Newt Gingrich in the 90s with the shutdown there. Boehner has the twin tensions of trying to reach a solution to this while hanging on to his speakership.
Exactly. Yeah, well, I want to come back to that, but you had an opportunity to talk with the Secretary of Budget, Charles Zogby, this week. You did an interview with him, I think. I read about it. What did he say about, is the shutdown having an effect here in our state, at least in terms of the state, what the state does in relationship with the federal government?
Well, there's no, programs that have had to close or shut their doors yet or anything, but I mean, he did say, basically, he was loath to give any specific dates or, any hard and fast dates or consequences. He said for, a few weeks, we're okay, we can move money around, we can, one program in particular is the WIC program that is Women, Infants, and Children. It provides, food and formula to babies and pregnant women.
Very popular program like CHIP, the children. John, you've covered the CHIP program for years.
Well, so WIC, that is running right now using some, I think, reserve or funds from last year, which that's not the case in every state. I was just reading, the Utah WIC program has shut its doors. So we are still continuing to run WIC. That was one thing he mentioned specifically. Basically, Secretary Zogby said, for a couple weeks, till the end of the month, we're fine. Okay. But he did say, beyond the end of October, I think he said
more problematic.
All bets are off. I think it does become more problematic if it goes on.
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, most of the entitlement programs are 83% of the federal government is operating. I was in Washington this past week. I was in the Russell Senate building, and there was nobody there with a lot of staffers on furlough. But outside, the city was sort of bustling, but inside the Capitol and these other buildings, not a lot going on. John, let's go back to the point that you were making. I mean, the congressmen that you mentioned, the 4 suburban Republicans, we'll forget about Lou Barletta up in, who now, by the way, whose district extends down into
Dauphin County.
Dauphin, that's correct. But they're kind of moderate Republicans caught in the middle. I mean, they're not excessively ideological either to the right or the left, as you well know. Is this playing a role in the decision, do you think, or do you think they're just more practical? You know some of them, you've interviewed some of them. What's your sense about that?
I mean, are they steering the debate? I mean, the Tea Party now has that conference effectively held hostage. You know, it's interesting though to see Dent now, who's becoming a very high-profile figure. He's making the rounds of cable news. He's just on MSNBC yesterday, becoming this voice of moderation.
Right.
And I think what's going to happen is that wing of the House Republican caucus may gather more clout. I mean, we're into October now. It's going to be what, October 10th when this airs. We've put about a week out from the debt ceiling deadline when things get really real.
Right.
So as that pressure ratchets up, there's going to be concomitant pressure on Boehner to try to reach some kind of deal.
All right, we're going to run to a break. When we come back, Governor Corbett made some controversial comments about gay marriage. He apologized, some say partially apologized. We want to talk to our reporters about that and see what their sense is about the implication of that. All of that and more after these words.
This broadcast of Pennsylvania Newsmakers is presented by the Pennsylvania Chamber of Business and Industry, the statewide voice of business, and by the Pennsylvania Business Council Education Foundation, educating citizens and business leaders about important public policy issues and civic affairs. This broadcast of Pennsylvania Newsmakers is brought to you by BetterSaferRoads.com. To voice your support for safer highways and less traffic congestion, visit BetterSaferRoads.com. And by the Pennsylvania Manufacturers Association. Business in Pennsylvania is our business.
Hi, welcome back. We're doing a little reporter update, if you will, a roundtable, only two. Maybe you need more than that for a roundtable with Kate Giammarise and John Micek. Both of them are reporters. Kate, let's start with you. The governor, made this comment that actually created national news when he compared gay marriage to a relationship, if you will, or a marriage between a brother and a sister, siblings, in other words. It went sort of viral everywhere. Yeah. The governor's apologized. What's the latest? Give us an update. What happened this past week with that?
Well, I mean, I think we're still seeing some fallout. I mean, people are still referencing that comment. I'm still seeing it, stuff is on Twitter and it's on the internet. Yeah. And I mean, Democrats obviously, keep bringing it up. But I believe he did say the other day, that he's apologized. Some people don't feel like it was sincere, but he's said that he's apologized and he's done talking about it. I mean, but I'm sure it's a remark that will continue to haunt him.
Yeah. John, the one thing that sort of surprised me is I thought the governor, and we're objective, you cover this, is developing some momentum, healthy PA, a lot of the healthcare organizations said, the good thing to do, a good start towards Medicaid. We can debate it, but new staff change, and then it takes them, in political terms, completely off message. I mean, doesn't it just put them back on the defensive?
The good news for the governor here is he may finally have run out of people to alienate.
Well, it was
the people who
controversial.
The people who dislike Tom Corbett are going to continue to dislike Tom Corbett. So we've got that sort of like constituency nailed down. He's got that vote nailed. He doesn't have to worry about them anymore. But I mean, this is the story of this administration, though, right? Every single time it looks like he's made some headway. Yeah. He's made some progress. Something happens and it comes along. He says something about the unemployed being on drugs. He says he can't find any Latinos for the administration. And then it's a week and a half of, did I say what I said? And he's on the defensive yet again. Yeah. And what was extraordinary is they're always unforced errors. That's the amazing thing. They're always unforced errors. Yeah. We can all agree. We know Tom Corbett.
No, it's not like you tricked him. It wasn't like somebody was tricking him.
And he's a decent guy. He's a hardworking guy. Yeah. The anchor gives him a shot to walk back his remarks. Yeah. Because he earlier compared it to trying to walk back the remarks from his lawyers who said it was like a marriage between two 12-year-olds. He's like, did I say 12-year-olds? No. What I really meant was siblings. And you're like, what? Yeah. You don't need the analogy. All you have to say is, I disagree with what my attorney said. The governor said, I put on my lawyer hat, that's how I'm thinking about it. And you can take him at his word on that, but my God, it didn't have to happen.
Yeah, I'm not supposed to say a lot about this because I'm the host and I try to be neutral, but one answer would have been, I'm the governor, it's state law. My job is to defend the law whether I like the law or not. In this case, I happen to agree with the law, but I have a legal responsibility. Does that not make sense? That would have been, we're not trying to put ants, but when you think about it.
It was an unforced error.
Yeah. Well, and the whole reason why it was even being brought up is, it's like he was trying to quell the first controversy, and he created an even worse one.
Yeah. All right, look, very quickly before we let you folks get out of here, property tax reform, bring us a quick update on that. A bill passed the House, right?
Yeah, it's heading to the Senate.
Seth Grove, it calls for some, Senator Pileggi then says, no, we don't want to do that. We might want to do it for, any update, either of you, on that, where that stands?
Well, I'm not sure it'll go anywhere.
Yeah, that's my sense too. John?
How long we've been talking about property tax reform?
40 years.
Wake me when it's over.
Okay. All right, before I let you go, there's something coming up. Is there something called the Gridiron?
That's
what's that all about? Help us out.
That's right. Well, it's this week. It's Tuesday. It's the governor will be in attendance. We'll have a lot of funny skits and sketches from various Capitol reporters and newsmakers. I understand Senator Leach, one of the most hilarious senators, will be there. He'll be having an encore performance. Corrections Secretary Wetzel will be there. So everyone should get your tickets.
So you can get your tickets. Anybody know how to get them? Can you just
online, PALegislativecorrespondence.org.
Say that again slowly.
PA Legislative Correspondence.
PA Legislative Correspondence, I think.
.org, or from my Capitol colleague Jan Murphy up in the Capitol Press Room.
Jan Murphy at Patriot News PennLive. And also, I don't want to deter people from going in person, but Pennsylvania Cable Network usually covers it.
No.
They're not covering it this year?
No, this is an off-the-record event. The great news is, though, is that 100% of the proceeds go to the Capitol
Scholarship,
summer internship program. We don't keep a nickel of it.
We like that. All right, when we come back, it's International Credit Union Month. We're going to talk to our friends from the Credit Union Association. We'll get a little financial literacy update after these words.
This broadcast of Pennsylvania Newsmakers is brought to you by Pennsylvania Credit Union Association. Pennsylvania Credit Unions, where people are worth more than money. To find a credit union that is right for you, check out ibelong.org. And by the Energy Association of Pennsylvania, Pennsylvania's energy information source. This broadcast of Pennsylvania Newsmakers is presented by the Hospital and Health System Association of Pennsylvania, working towards a healthy Pennsylvania.
Hi, welcome back to the program. Well, it's International Credit Union Month. Our friends from the Credit Union Association are here. We have two folks one of whom has retired and one of whom is about to retire, if I got that correct, who've been on the show frequently. We thought we'd sort of celebrate their retirement, at the same time talk a little bit about credit unions and what they do. They've, for years and years on this program, have been providing us with a popular financial literacy update, helping people understand credit and credit cards and what they should do about mortgages and good sound advice regardless of where you sit and where you stand in the economy. Joining me is Diana Roberts. She's the former CEO of the Hershey Federal Credit Union. And Jim McCormack, he's the CEO of the Pennsylvania Credit Union Association. First of all, congratulations both. I'm going to get there myself one of these days. I'm just, they're pushing me out the door. I'm only kidding, Jim. All right, Jim, let's talk about International Credit Union Month first, something you and I have talked about for years. What's it all
the International
about?
Credit Union Month was started in 1948 by President Truman, and it's a celebration. Right now we have 3.7 million members in the state of Pennsylvania and about 96 million around the country. It's to celebrate the cooperative people helping people spirit of credit unions. So it's the month.
Yep. Now, talk a little bit about the Diana, about the philosophy that undergirds the credit union?
Well, since 1934, when credit unions were first started, it's been people helping people, trying to do good things for them as far as the financial literacy and learning about what they need to do to manage their finances. And that has not changed over the years. It's remained the same. Our philosophy is that we do help people. We are not for profit. We turn the returns back to the members. And it's been ongoing, like I said, since 1934.
Yeah, and the one thing that I think, Jim, that has really been helpful to our program, as I point out, we have, Mike Wishnow, your senior VP, comes on a lot, and we get into a lot of helpful hints for people. And you all have these programs now in the schools, to help train folks at the younger age to begin to think about this. And those programs, not just from credit unions, but other institutions are now expanding them. I mean, you've built something that's, successful, and therefore it's expanding to other organizations not in your line of work that are beginning to do that.
Yeah, it's not only the association, but credit unions throughout the Commonwealth.
Yeah.
We have over 50 student branches for financial literacy in the high schools across the Commonwealth. And we take special pride in financial literacy, not only for kids in school, but also for adults at any age. It's a sorely needed subject.
Yeah. One of the things that we have seen has to do with, how organizations have changed over time. Now we used to have, now there are a lot more smaller organizations. You've got wider fluctuations in interest rates. It seems to me that you've got all these variables that didn't used to be in play. It's, as Meryl Streep might once said, it's complicated, right, Diana? So how do you all work your way through that? I mean, what's the relevance of that, I think, for the folks out there who are listening, watching and listening?
Jim and I, have been in this a long time and have seen the changes come, believe me. From when I first started at Millersville and we did everything by hand posting, and, the technology changes that have certainly come down have made a big impact on how we do our job. But the philosophy has stayed the same no matter what. It doesn't matter how big the credit union becomes, the goal and the philosophy remains the same.
Yeah. I noticed here you go from 1970s payroll deduction, 1980s ATM machines and credit cards, 1990s telephone banking and debit cards, 2000s. Hold on, now we're dealing with computers and internet banking, and now we're doing the mobile and person-to-person payment. I haven't gotten there yet. I want to tell you, I'm not holding my iPhone up and doing that. Maybe I'll get there. But the changes truly have been dramatic in the financial service, I'll call it industry, but for folks who provide, it's the technology upgrades must be enormous for you folks.
Technology has pursued at a faster and faster rate. And credit unions, thank God, most of them have kept up with the technology from the banking industry or what have you. But
you almost have to.
Oh, you have to.
In order to survive.
You don't make deposits through your cell phone, huh? Just take a picture of the check.
Yeah, I'm not. No. I got to get there. I know you're looking at me
you
smiling.
Have to get there.
I'll get there. I'm working on it. Okay, we're going to take a break. We'll be back for the final segment of Pennsylvania Newsmakers.
This broadcast of Pennsylvania Newsmakers is presented by HIGHMARK Blue Shield, changing the way health plans work for business with a variety of plan options for employers and more choices for employees. Information is available at HIGHMARK.com. Have a greater hand in your company's health. And by the Pennsylvania Healthcare Association, the future of long-term care.
Welcome back. It's International Credit Union Month. We're talking with two folks who've been on the program a lot over the last couple of years, Jim McCormack and Diana Roberts, both long-time Credit Union Association advocates and employees. That's a safe way to say an employee. Yeah, we're all employees. Yeah, we're all employees of somebody. Diana, let's talk a little bit about the public awareness of credit unions and how people learn about it. And I know there's one program in particular, PA's I Belong campaign, that it's important to you folks.
Right, one that's been developed over the years called I Belong, and it's a way for credit unions to see through ads that are on television the difference in credit unions and what it means to them. And it's been very successful in helping Pennsylvania credit unions get more public awareness and knowing what a credit union is.
Right. The other aspect about this is that in terms of the stuff that we've done over the years on financial literacy is, and I think in some ways maybe among the most important things, has to do with providing this one-on-one counseling, sitting down with people and getting invested in the important financial decisions that they make. From counseling to an emphasis on the financial education of youth, things that we've been talking about over the years.
That's the essence of credit unions. But getting back to that I Belong campaign, there was a number of us sitting around and saying, if we got the best interest rates and the best service, why isn't everybody a member of a credit union? And we did a study with Central Pennsylvania University who found out people aren't aware that they can join a credit union. They aren't aware that if you just live in a community, there are certain credit unions that you can join.
Right.
So we started the I Belong campaign, and I know you've seen the ads, and that has helped our growth over the last 2 years significantly. People thought you had to be a member of a union or belong to an organization. Right. It's not true.
So the future then, as we sort of close this segment out, you're upbeat, Diana, about the future. I mean, I know that you're still involved. Where do you see all this going? I mean, if you had to
well, there's
make
challenges,
3 or 4 points.
just like we talked about. There's challenges, there's regulatory and legislative things that every credit union has to face. But I do see that there's some positive things. There'll be probably fewer credit unions, but maybe bigger and stronger and able to do all of the fancy electronic services.
Yeah.
But the one thing that will stay the same, no matter how large that credit union becomes, is that the philosophy will stay the same.
Yeah.
And it's still not-for-profit and giving everything back to the members.
Yeah. Jim, what are you going to do with yourself in retirement? You're still going to work, aren't you?
No.
No?
No. I'm going to get healthy.
All right, I understand.
I'm going to get healthy. Yeah.
Well, I mean, nobody gives up completely. And the phone will, I know, the phone will be out and you'll be calling the folks
I'll
there.
be doing all my credit union banking on my phone.
Oh, yeah. And you won't be checking in on them?
No.
They'll be calling him.
Yeah, I know. They'll be trying to figure out what he's up to.
I do need to say hello to the Washburns from Hamden Township. I left all my notes on top of the car today, pulled away, and they blew all over the place.
I thought I was the only one who did that.
My God,
you got to be kidding me.
Thank you, the Washburns.
There you go.
Yes.
And what are you doing?
I'm relaxing, not worrying anymore.
Right. We're out of here. Thanks for a great job over the years. All right, we'll see you next week for another edition of Pennsylvania Newsmakers, and as always, stay well.